training certificate. We will go ahead and introduce our panelists today. You will see Dr. Kam Escoffery. She's an assistant professor in behavioral science and health education at Emory's Rollins School of Public Health. She has a master's in public health from Emory University and a PhD from the University of Georgia in the area of health promotion. Among her many accomplishments, she also works with Drs. Kegler and Berg on the Smoke-Free Homes Project with Atlanta United Way 211 to promote smoke-free homes among low-income families. You also will see our presenter, Sade Awolabi. She is a research interventionist with the Smoke-Free Homes Project at the Emory Prevention Research Center. Sade received her BS in Psychology and Pre-Medical Studies from Xavier University of Louisiana in 2009. She is currently a Master's of Science student in Clinical Mental Health Counseling at Mercer University. Our next panelist is Lakia Kohler. She's a research interviewer with the Smoke-Free Homes Project at the Emory Prevention Research Center. Lakia received her BA in Business Administration with a concentration in Marketing from the University of West Georgia. And Brooke Jenkins is a research interventionist with the Smoke-Free Homes Project at Emory Prevention Research Center. Brooke received her AB in Anthropology and Spanish from Washington University in St. Louis and her MPH in Behavioral Science from Emory University's Rollins School of Public Health. Welcome today, and we will now turn over our webinar presentation to our panelists.
Thank you, Amy. This is Kam Escoffery, and I just want to thank Amy and Laura for hosting us with the Professional Excellence Program and also the DFACS Educational Services. We are delighted to be here from the Emory Prevention Research Center to share some information about smoke-free homes and the benefits of creating smoke-free homes. And so this is today's agenda. We'll be talking about secondhand and third-hand smoke. We'll also define the benefits of a smoke-free home and give you a definition. The majority of the webinar will be focusing on encouraging foster caregivers and other families that you work with through social services to create smoke-free homes. And we'll do that through providing a 5-step kind of process for that. And throughout that process, we're going to be sharing role plays or vignettes to kind of let you kind of understand some of the tips that we have. And finally, we'll share some resources for you. So these are the learning objectives for today. By the end of the session, we hope that you'll be able to define both secondhand and third-hand smoke, be able to discuss some of the benefits of a smoke-free home, describe the 5 steps that we'll walk you through in making a home smoke-free and helping families to protect both children and other non-smokers in the home, and then get you comfortable with coaching or encouraging families to go smoke-free and kind of helping them through that process. So first I'm going to start off with the definition of secondhand smoke. Many of you probably know the definition, but this is kind of just a formal one that we use. So secondhand smoke is smoke that comes off from the burning tip of a cigarette, cigar, or other tobacco product. It can also come from the smoker's mouth when they're inhaling it and from their nose. And we know that secondhand smoke is a carcinogen. That means that it can cause cancer later in humans. These are data that will kind of help you show some of the harmful effects of secondhand smoke. So serum cotinine, as you can see, kind of defined at the bottom, is a biomarker, meaning that it's just a chemical found in the body once you're exposed to secondhand smoke. And you'll see some research in 2007, 2008, that when people live with a smoker, non-smokers, you see that 94% of adults and 98% of children actually have that chemical detected in their body. So they are receiving that harmful effect of cigarette smoking. When people are living with non-smoker, you can kind of see the cotinine level as being much smaller, around 33% in adults and around 40% in children. So this is just to show you that there are ways that we can track exposure to secondhand smoke, and it is an issue for people who live with smokers. Overall, in the United States, we have seen a decline in the serum cotinine level in people age 4 and older from 53% to 40% in 2007 to 2008. A lot of this has been through the success of public health efforts such as smoking bans. So you know when you go out to restaurants and in public buildings, you're not allowed to smoke. So that does lower the amount of secondhand smoke we're exposed to, but actually in a lot of homes, that's the #1 place where children are exposed to smoking and secondhand smoke. So that's an area that we want to talk about with you today. So this is our first question that we have for you to kind of cover some of the harms of secondhand smoke. So I'd like to take a moment to kind of let you respond with what you think are some of the dangers of secondhand smoke. So we would just encourage you, if you have an answer or can think of something, to type it in the chat box. Responses coming in. So some of you are saying lung cancer, several of you saying cancer, asthma, allergy, breathing problems. Great, I'll give you a little bit more time to see if there's anything else. Great. Thank you very much for your participation. A new one, heart disease. Well, as I am a professor, I give you all an A for your response to that question. Those are all right. So in the next couple of slides, we'll kind of hit the highlights of some of the things that you have just answered in terms of the harms or the things that can go wrong with exposure to secondhand smoke. So you can see here for babies and young children, it can lead to respiratory infections, some of the things that we more commonly known as bronchitis, so breathing problems through problems with their air sacs, pneumonia. It can also lead or worsen respiratory symptoms that children may have, particularly asthma, shortness of breath, coughing, even runny eyes when they're exposed to secondhand smoke. Also, it can lead to other ear infections, which we know as parents is difficult because you're taking them in to get antibiotics and giving them treatment. And also for younger children, it can lead to low birth weight for babies developing, and for those who are born, sudden infant death disease, or SIDS as it's commonly known. And we know as children are growing up that teens or tweens who are exposed to smoking and smoking behaviors are more likely to initiate or start smoking. So that's another reason for trying not to smoke in the home, because we don't want to role model smoking. And for adults who are non-smoker, they also have some of the same kind of conditions that children are exposed to. It can worsen respiratory symptoms, and we know that in Atlanta there's a lot of asthma with our smog and other things, so people experience wheezing, coughing, sneezing, all those types of things. Particularly adults are the ones that manifest cancer, and so if they're exposed long enough, they can get lung cancer or heart disease. And we know that 20 to 30% risk for heart disease, as smoking is one of the risk factors. And for those who actually have heart conditions, it also has been documented in research that you can have increased rates of heart attacks if you're around smokers as well. So many of you have given a lot of these answers, so thank you for doing that. This is just another kind of fact table that kind of highlights some of the same data. So these are the annual excess deaths due to secondhand smoke exposure in the U.S. So just to hit some highlights of some of the points that I made here, that having more asthma kind of problems, 200,000 children experience that. Doctor's visits for ear infections or otitis media, you have 790,000 people. Heart attack deaths related are 46,000. Lung cancer deaths are 3,400. So we can see that really secondhand smoke exposure is a problem, and we'd like to be able to address that. So this is another poll question that we have, so I'm going to turn it over to Amy to set up the poll and get your ideas on protecting kids from secondhand smoke.
Okay. We will open up the poll, and our first question is, which of the following actions protect non-smokers and children from secondhand smoke? And you can click on one of the answers, and we will compile that data in just a few seconds. We'll give you about 15, 20 seconds to answer. Okay, we've closed the poll, and it's compiling the data. I'm pretty sure it's pretty clear what the answer is. So let's see.
All right, well, thank you, Amy. So we asked, which of the following actions protect non-smoker and children from secondhand smoke? And A through D are different things that a lot of people may say that they try just to alleviate or reduce smoke in the homes. And we hear this all the time in our research. I run a fan, I open doors and windows, but really the answer is, as Amy said, pretty self-evident that none of these really protect totally everybody in the home from secondhand smoke. Some of them might help a little bit, but the research shows that actually no exposure with no smoking in the home is the best. So the answer that you guys all put correct is none of the above. So thank you for participating in that poll. So basically, many public health agencies say that there's no safe level of secondhand smoke exposure. So here you just kind of see a picture of that, and that smoke really lingers and stays in the home, not only when the smoker is present, but I'm going to talk about a new area of research that's coming out, which is the concept of third-hand smoke in just a moment. So third-hand smoke is just coming out in the literature as harmful elements that stay in the home, particularly on surfaces or objects after the visible smoke from cigarettes or other types of tobacco products is gone. It lingers and can be found in clothing, furniture, carpets, a lot of the things we have in our everyday home, our tables in our living room, our bed frames, things like that. And the environmental data has shown that it can stay for a long time, so not just days, also weeks or even months. So this is an area that they're particularly concerned of, particularly for younger kids. So as we said, exposure to secondhand smoke, if that is not bad enough, exposure to third-hand smoke can also come from the off-gassing or those particulate matter staying on the surfaces for a long time. And people in the home can touch, breathe, or swallow, and particularly younger kids, once they touch things, can swallow residues that might stay from third-hand smoke. So this is a new area that is an area of focus that can also attribute to trying to get people to kind of not smoke in the home at all for both secondhand smoke and third-hand smoke reasons. So the thing that we're really trying to promote with some of our research efforts that you heard Amy introduce us with our Smoke-Free Homes project is really a totally smoke-free home. Basically, it's one where smoking is not allowed anywhere or at any time within the home. So that means that there are no exceptions. An exception, some people say, well, I'm not going to smoke when kids are at school or things like that. But really, with the idea of secondhand smoke and third-hand smoke remaining in the home, that's not a good idea. And so we're promoting the idea of smoke-free bans in the home, just like you will see at restaurants and other work sites that you might encounter on a day-to-day basis. So this is what we'd like for families who are interested that you work with to kind of create these smoke-free homes. These smoking bans can be unwritten rules, and they are also voluntary in nature. So we would just like you to kind of think through the homes that you work with, and we'll ask you about that a little later, and trying to help them go smoke-free. I just also want to say the caveat here is we know that smoking is an addiction, so our message is that the smoker doesn't have to quit. We would like to encourage the smoker to quit, but our main message is if it's a hard habit for them to break, and because there could be problems related to addiction or other reasons why they smoke, that we ask them to really take it outside is our message. And so if they can't quit, that taking it outside will alleviate the secondhand smoke in the home for other people. So I'm going to turn it over to Amy for our second poll question about some of the homes that you work with, and ask you about what you think you see in terms of secondhand smoke.
Okay, so our second poll is, and you can start answering, how many of the foster homes you serve allow smoking in the home? And this does not include decks, garages, or porches. And you can just choose from A through D. And we'll give you just a few seconds to make those choices. Okay, we will close the poll now and show the results. We'll give it a few minutes to. Okay, can y'all see the poll results, Laura?
Yeah, yes, we can.
Okay.
So we asked you how many of the foster homes you serve do you think allow smoking in the home? And so the most common response was 0, so that's good. That many of the homes probably have a ban, or formal or informal, which is good. 8 of you said that. Then the next common response was 14% of you said that you think 3 to 5 of the families that you serve might allow smoking in the home, and we see another 9% saying that 1 to 2 of the homes that you serve might allow smoking in the home. So this is just something to pay attention to, particularly if you want to take them through the process that we're going to share in a few minutes. So thank you for letting us know what you think you're seeing out there in the field. So I'm just going to cover a couple of slides on home smoking bans or smoke-free homes. Right now, with our data in 2010, we see about 80% of U.S. households have total smoking bans. So I think from the whole tobacco prevention efforts and also bans in public places, we actually see that that's probably coming true in the home, that there's less smoking and people are less likely to smoke in the home. But we do see some differences, or what we call disparities. In homes with non-smokers, about 90% of them actually have smoking bans. But homes that have smokers, only 48% of those homes have smoking bans. And obviously one of the reasons why is there's a smoker living there. We also see that in homes that have higher educational level or income, they're more likely to have smoking bans, or homes that have children present. So I think this is what you just showed us, that you really think some of the homes that you work with, because of children being present, they have bans. So that's great to know. So we want to work on that other 20% of homes that still allow smoking. So some of the benefits you could highlight is that smoke-free homes really reduce exposure for both children and adults. It really also helps the smokers to quit, or actually there's data that shows that smokers in smoke-free environments are likely to reduce the number of cigarettes that they smoke or cigars smoke as well. And particularly for the data that we showed about tweens or adolescents, if they don't see smoking being modeled or having access to bumming that cigarette from the smoker in the home, they're more likely not to start smoking. So that's another reason for having smoke-free homes. So we want to share with you some of the work that we've done in developing an intervention and a process for helping homes go smoke-free. And this is our Smoke-Free Homes project. It's funded by the National Cancer Institute, which is just a federal agency, through the State and Community Tobacco Control Research Initiative. And through that project, we have been able to develop an evidence-based intervention that's been evaluated, and we've developed educational materials and also a short counseling or coaching process to kind of help families go smoke-free. All the kind of techniques that we're presenting today have been evaluated in a pilot project that found that homes that participated in this project, 33% of the homes actually went smoke-free. And our current project is with Atlanta United Way 211, where we're testing out this whole process with low-income families, around 250 families. And so we'll have other data to kind of support some of the techniques that we're kind of sharing today. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues, Sade and Brooke, and they're going to talk you through encouraging foster parents and families to go smoke-free. And then Lakia is also going to join them in some of the role plays and vignettes, and we're hoping that some of this will be helpful for you as you coach families on making smoke-free homes.
All right, thank you. As mentioned in this half of the webinar, Brooke and I will be discussing how DFACS can encourage foster parents to make their homes smoke-free. We'll cover how to assess the needs, the smoke-free foster care home kit, how to start the conversation, addressing challenges, goal setting, and going through the 5 steps. And it's in this section that you'll actually hear the vignettes, and they kind of display how you might implement the 5-step program. Okay, so in order to intervene, you must first determine if the family is in need of a smoke-free home intervention. So as case managers, during a visit with the family, how might you detect whether there is smoking in the home? And I'll give you a few moments to answer that question.
We're so good.
Are we back in?
Amy? Amy, can you hear us on this end?
And they're giving some really great...
Well, I guess it's the weekends.
Yeah, so we're still. All right, hang on one second.
I was just thinking of a really long time.
Right. It's a good time. I'll just give them lots of good feedback.
Yeah.
You're doing good ones.
Letting her know we got disconnected. Say something. Just let them know that. Hi guys, sorry we got cut off here, and we're going to go ahead and continue. Amy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right.
All right, well, we're getting some really great responses here. I see the smell of smoke, ashtrays, cigarette butts lying around. Let's see, ashtrays in the home, I already mentioned that. Oh, face mask and medication necessary for non-smokers. Okay, that's a good one. Yellow color on the walls, like soot and black smoke. Discoloration on the walls and furnishings. Those are all really great responses, really great responses. And as you can see, there are various ways that you can assess a need. It's very, very important that when entering a home, you pay attention to the smell and appearance. So ask yourself, do I smell smoke? Are there ashtrays lying around? Are there cigarette burns on the furniture and carpet? And there are, if there's stains on the walls and any other signs of smoking in the home. And these are all ways that you can observe smoking in the home. You can also ask questions like, are there smokers in the home, and who are they, and does anyone in the household have any medical conditions affected by secondhand smoke, like asthma, allergies, or any other type of health-related illnesses. And you also want to ask if they have a rule about smoking in the home. And once you determine if there is a smoker in the home and if it's allowed inside the home, then you want to ask the family if he or she is open to the idea of making their home smoke-free. All right, and if there appears to be a need in the within the family, you want to make sure that they're willing to actually make their home smoke-free. So you want to present them, if they are, you want to present them with the smoke-free foster care home kit. And the kit provides them with all the necessary materials they'll need to actually make this change. And it'll also serve as a reminder for future strategies and tips for any challenges they may come across. So the information and facts can be used during your meeting with the family, and it can just be used to encourage and facilitate the process of making their home smoke-free. Okay? So the kit contains several interactive components that can help engage the household in making their home smoke-free. First, we have the 5-step guide booklet, and it basically outlines the 5 steps taken to successfully make the home smoke-free. It also provides a list of reasons why it may be important for them to have a smoke-free home, and it includes children, non-smokers, smokers, and the home in general. It also includes facts and information on secondhand smoke. There's also a challenges and solutions booklet that it gives the top 10 challenges that a person may have in making their home smoke-free and solutions as to how to address them. And we also have some visual aids that will help remind the family as they make this change. We have a third-hand stickers, window clings, and a pledge card to help facilitate the process.
Okay, and just a note about the kit, that will become available in the near future. So we don't have it up for you today, but hopefully if you find this information helpful, we'll be able to provide you with that so you can actually use a lot of the materials that we're talking about. So just a few things to keep in mind when helping families go smoke-free is that each situation will be different, and that depending on the family dynamics and who is involved, some families may go smoke-free very quickly and others will take much longer. The process may take several steps and will probably have to happen over several calls or visits with the family. To help facilitate the process, it's important that when challenges come up or things that are getting in the way of making the home smoke-free, that you address them in that moment. And we, as Sade mentioned, we have challenges and solutions that are matched up with each other, and we'll talk more about that as we go along. And then you should also feel comfortable setting goals with the family at each step. That way they're actively working towards making these changes and gradually making the home smoke-free. So if you recognize that there might be a need and you want to try and get the parents thinking about making the home smoke-free, the way in which you start that conversation is really important.
You want to be careful not to make them upset, and just try and keep an open and friendly approach to the whole conversation. It can be difficult to talk with people who are smokers or who may allow smoking because they might take offense or be defensive during the conversation. So again, just being that open, friendly source, and then providing them with some general information about smoke-free homes. So you'll see there are some images pictured there, like secondhand smoke page, a third-hand smoke page, and then some other information about the benefits of going outside to smoke. So providing them with that information and allowing them to help make the decision on their own, as well as, again, providing information on the dangers of smoking in the home is really the best way to start a conversation, or at least from what we've done, what we've found. So again, challenges can come up at any time during the process, and it's important that when they come up, you address them. Challenges sometimes are hidden in what someone's saying. So, for example, if a parent tells you it will be difficult because they're so used to smoking in the home that they just don't think they'll be able to stop doing it, the challenge that we would, name that is smoking is a habit that's hard to break. And within that booklet, that is one of the challenges that's provided, and the appropriate solution would be to try and spend more time outside so that spending time outside while you smoke becomes a new habit. So that's just an example, but really listening and trying to identify what's going on, as well as working with that parent to try and make their own changes in the home is extremely important. And again, brainstorming safe and healthy solutions with the parents can help them take ownership over the process and really help them want to become smoke-free themselves, as opposed to you just kind of telling them about doing it. So in addition to addressing challenges and providing solutions at each step, you want to be sure that you're setting goals with a family. And goals are really important because they give small steps that families can work towards. So setting 1 to 2 goals throughout the process of each step is usually a good amount to give, and the goals should be appropriate, realistic, and attainable. Just, small things that they can do in the process of making the home smoke-free. We'll give some examples as we go along of what goals might be appropriate at different steps embedded in the vignettes, but then also at the end of each step, we'll give you sort of an example that matches with that step. Also, you want to wait until previous goals are met before setting new ones. We don't want to give them, 10 goals at once. That can overwhelm people and make it seem like it's too arduous a task. And in the 5 steps, we'll also kind of go over the items in the toolkit that are related to each step, so you'll be able to learn how to integrate all of the material together. So this is the 5-step guide, and this is an image similar to the one that you'll be able to get in the future. And the 5 steps include deciding to make the home smoke-free, talking with the other household members about making the home smoke-free, making it official, so setting a date and signing a pledge, making the home smoke-free, and finally keeping the home smoke-free. And in the next several slides, we'll go into each of the steps in more detail, so you'll get an idea of how they differ and what the goal is really at each step to help move a family from allowing smoking in the home to not allowing smoking at all.
Okay, so the first step, as Brooke mentioned, we will be directly addressing the steps taken to make the home smoke-free. And the first step is to decide to make the home smoke-free. So you want to get the family thinking about making this change. Here we want to know how important it is for the family to actually make their home smoke-free. So after you've presented them with all the information and facts about secondhand smoke and third-hand smoke, you want to ask them, how important is it to you to have a smoke-free home? And this question serves 2 purposes. First, it provides you with additional information on the parent's readiness to make the change and how ready they are to change their habits as well. And secondly, it allows the parent to think more about the reasons it may be beneficial for their household to be smoke-free. So here you might want to ask families to think about the reasons it might be important for them to make their home smoke-free. Not all reasons apply to everyone. So you want to take the time to actually discuss this with them so that they can find reasons that are suitable specifically for them. And you want to feel free to suggest additional reasons that may apply that may have been overlooked by the family. Whatever their reason may be, you should use them to help encourage the family to think about why it's important and beneficial for everyone involved. And this should motivate them to feel more confident in actually going smoke-free. And the kit includes a checklist of reasons, like you see here, that you can use during the visit for the family to refer to. And the checklist basically highlights the reasons mentioned by Dr. Escofri earlier, related to children, non-smokers, smokers in the household, and just the family, the household in general. And please keep in mind that you will receive a checklist similar to this one, however, it will be slightly modified. All right. So as a caseworker, you want to be able to assess how ready a family might be. So most likely they will not have thought about making this change prior to your visit. So you want to have them really think about it and encourage and motivate them to take the first step. So it would be beneficial to have them revisit their list of reasons and their benefits, and you want them to think about why it's important and who can benefit from this change. You also want to have them talk to others for support. And revisiting the list and talking to others is especially helpful for those who are kind of resistant to making the change or just not ready at that very moment. All right, so to wrap up step one, you want to make sure the following goals are met. And as Brooke mentioned earlier, after each step, you want to set goals. So for step one, you want to make sure that the 5-step guide and the other important materials have been reviewed with the family. And together, you want to discuss and complete the checklist of their reasons for having a smoke-free home.
Okay, so step 2 involves having the family talk. And this is a critical step since it really involves getting various household members on board with this decision. And this is usually where most families have difficulty because there's at least one member of the household who wants to continue smoking while the others don't want it. So you'll also have a lot of challenges during this step that we'll kind of discuss how to go over. So the purpose of this step is to encourage the foster parents to talk with everyone in the home to see what they think about making the change. You can help foster parents get through this step by preparing them for the talk. So going through the list of reasons with them again, practicing a conversation, preparing for possible challenges, asking them what might get in the way of making the home smoke-free, or what do you anticipate would be a challenge that someone would bring up, and then talking through all those challenges together can be really helpful. If they have small children, this is the only step that may not apply because if it's just one adult who is a smoker with lots of littler kids, it won't be worthwhile. But in most families, this is a really worthwhile step and something to be done. So just in case the foster parents or other members of the household need some extra tips, here are the tips that we like to provide for this step. So just kind of a smaller 5-step process within this step of introducing the topic of the talk with their family members, following up by stating facts about secondhand smoke, stating their reasons, again referring to that list of reasons why it's so important to them, allowing time for an open discussion, and this is really key. So really soliciting the problems from other household members and trying to discuss and work through them as a group, and then reviewing what was said and the decisions that were made during the talk. So sometimes this looks like, okay, well, we can't do it this week, but let's really work on trying to start, and maybe we can start making changes next week, or other kinds of things like that. And then by the end of this step, you should have worked through what to say to household members, practice the conversation with them, or encourage them to practice with another friend or relative, had them think ahead about the challenges that may come up and how they can address them, and talk to them about when might be a good time to have the family talk. And ideally, at the end of this meeting, the individual will set up a time with their family or have a time in mind, and you should allow them a couple weeks to have the talk before the next visit so that hopefully they've had time to have the talk and start making some changes. So now we're going to enter a series of vignettes. So we'll hear vignette 1 right now, And the idea of this is to give you sort of an impression of what might happen during a conversation. And the vignettes, it's important to say, are based on real experiences that Shade and I both had with coaching families. So we coach quite a few families together, approximately a little over maybe 100 each. And we incorporated some different elements from theories that have been well proven in the literature, so stages of change, a little bit of motivational interviewing, and behavioral techniques. But the important thing to know is that even though these are all fictional stories, they have a lot of truth in them, and I think it'll be helpful for you to see what really happens during a conversation. So the first vignette, we'll go over steps 1 and 2, and as you listen, you can listen for all of the things sort of listed on the screen. So the reasons to make a home smoke-free, the family talk discussion, tips of how to go about having the family talk, any challenges that might be coming up, and then goals that they should set for themselves.
So what are the reasons that you might want to have a smoke-free home?
Well, the stains on the wall, the smell, and just the comfort of home for guests and visitors. I think having a smoke-free home would make those better.
Right, you're absolutely right. Those are really great reasons. However, in making this decision, I also like for you to think about all the great health benefits for the children and adults in the household. Having a smoke-free home can reduce the children's risk of getting bronchitis and ear infections, which can sometimes keep them from going to school, and it can also reduce everyone's risk of getting heart disease and cancer.
You're so right. I definitely want everyone to be healthier.
Wonderful. Well, now that we've talked about reasons for having a smoke-free home, have you thought about having a talk with the people you live with?
Well, I asked him before. I've said, come on, Dad, no one likes it when you smoke in here. You really need to do it outside. But he's old, and I just feel all bad making him get up and use his cane to go out of the house.
Right. I see. Well, have you thought about having a formal talk?
No, not really.
Okay, well, how do you think you might go about bringing up the topic?
Well, I guess I could tell him and everyone else before we sit down to watch our shows tonight. We always watch TV together on Thursday nights.
Okay, that sounds like an excellent idea. Share your reasons for wanting to have a smoke-free home with the other members of your household, and just be open to discussion and hearing their ideas as well. I'll give you this reason sheet so you can use it when you have the talk to help provide additional information and reasons why it might be a good idea. Good luck.
So that was definitely an abbreviated version of what would take place, but I think it gives you an idea. So we have a chat discussion question. So what additional challenges might you anticipate hearing from families in making their home smoke-free? So in this example, the challenge was that she didn't want to make her father go outside to smoke, and he was the smoker. And you can respond in the chat, and we'll look for your answers. Okay. Oh, okay. So I see, this is my home, and why should I go outside? Sure. So people being resistant because it's their home and they feel like they deserve to be able to do what they want. So sort of the free rider argument. Sure, you know, so calming stress. I guess the purpose of smoking for a lot of people is that it reduces their stress, so it's hard to talk them out of doing it when it makes them feel better. And then, you know, of course, it's only on their time. It's not like this is a workplace and they're taking time away. It's their downtime. They should be able to do what they want. So, yeah, absolutely, we hear those. Yeah, we hear them a lot. I think, you know, definitely one of the reasons that people smoke is to reduce stress, and I think a lot of people feel like in their home, you know, that we have all these rules, like Dr. Escoffery was talking about, that prohibit you from smoking at work or at restaurants or bars even, that home is one of the few places people feel like they can smoke, so absolutely. So we'll talk through how you can kind of go about addressing some of those as we go along. So this is the list of most common challenges that we see based on our research. So things like the smoker wants to quit and needs help but hasn't gotten there yet, so they're just not ready to, you know, make the home smoke-free. Again, smoking is a habit that's hard to break. Smoking, because they're stressed or worried, is towards the bottom. So you kind of get an idea of where they are. Other smokers in the home not wanting to quit, family or friends who smoke inside. So you sort of see the general trends that we saw and how many people really said those things, and quite a few did. So good job, guys. Okay, so now we're moving on to step 3, so making it official, setting a date. So this step really is to help the family commit to going through with the process. And that's probably one of the hardest things, is to actually commit to making the change. So during this step, you want to encourage foster parents to pick a start date for their smoke-free home rule. And the date will be the beginning of the smoke-free home rule, meaning that after this date, there should be a total ban on smoking. That is, there should be no smoking allowed in the home for any reason at any time. So that includes bathrooms, that includes, you know, back rooms that no one goes in. It's all over in the home. And sometimes families can be resistant to picking a date because they're concerned about the term smoke-free, and that they'll maybe have to quit by that date, or they'll have to stop smoking, stop allowing smoking altogether. So I think, you know, just again reminding them that the rule is really smoking indoors, and that it can still smoke outside on the porch or in garages that are detached from the home. And that, you know, usually helps people feel more comfortable committing to a date, but still a lot of people, I think, get nervous about setting a date because they put a lot of pressure on themselves. So you want the person to pick a date that seems realistic and achievable, so something that they feel comfortable they can do, but nothing too far away that is like next year sometime when they don't have to work towards it at all now. Sometimes it's helpful to pick a date that's meaningful to someone, so a special birthday, a holiday, or a life event, so they can kind of work towards that date and be reminded of it. But really, they can pick any day of the week that they feel will work for them, and ideally within the next month. And then to help them commit, we've included a pledge card, and if you'll see pictured to the right is pretty much what the pledge will look like. It has a couple of reasons listed at the top for wanting to make the home smoke-free, and so families can kind of use that as a reminder, check the reasons that most apply to them. And then it has a few words just saying that they commit to making the home smoke-free, the dates that they're going to do it, and then an area for all the family members to sign. And that's important too, because it's inclusive of everyone in the home, so they feel like they're making the decision together. A lot of families find the pledge really helpful because once they've signed it, they feel like they have to live up to it, and they can post it in a place that they see often. So maybe on the refrigerator or in a main hallway, so that as they walk by it, they're constantly reminded that this is something we're going to do, we committed to doing it, and it's coming up soon. And here are a couple of tips to help prepare for a smoke-free home. So even if the date is a few weeks out, there are things that families can be doing to get ready to have a smoke-free home. The toolkit includes these lists of prompts, so things like setting up an outdoor smoking area, doing a thorough cleaning of the house to get rid of the smoke smell, which kind of has a dual purpose. One, it really does get rid of the smell if you steam the walls and you wash all the, you know, area rugs and things like that. But it also really encourages people to stop smoking indoors, because once the smell is gone, they don't want to bring it back. Getting rid of the ashtrays indoors so they're not prompted to smoke, and then telling friends and visitors about the rule before they come over so they're supportive of the change. So these are just some of the ideas, and I think other ones are certainly available, but all of these littler changes help make it easier to make the home smoke-free and start seeing that kind of behavioral shift from smoking indoors to smoking outside and making it a smoke-free environment in the home. And as always, it's a good idea to tailor these recommendations and suggestions to the family that you're working with. So if they don't use ashtrays, that one would be omitted, but just some ideas. And then as the goals, really implementing all of those things we discussed and others, and trying to go outside more often. That's a really common one, just not quitting altogether of smoking inside, but really just starting to go outside more and more can help change over time. Trying going smoke-free for 1 week is a popular one. Just can we do it? Can we do it for 4 days, 5 days? Can we make it through 7? Picking a date and signing the pledge, and then getting ready for the change by the items we discussed, and of course just setting an example and going outside to smoke so that others in the home will begin to do it too. So now we're going to hear vignette 2, and this vignette will cover the conversation between a case manager and a parent again. And as you listen, just pay attention to the things listed on the screen, so sort of the check-in, the discussion of how the family talk went, any challenges that might have come up, the setting, the date, and then things that they can do to be getting ready to make the home smoke-free, as well as goals that they'll set for themselves.
So how's everything going since the last time we met? Have you had a chance to talk with your household members?
Well, I did, but there was a lot of opinions thrown around. People aren't all that keen on the idea of it.
Okay, I can understand that. You know, this is a big change and it will take some time. But can you tell me more about the challenges you had?
Well, I just don't know if they are ready. I mean, I feel like we had some aha moments when they got what I was saying, but I just think with them being older and it being a habit, I'm just not sure they are ready. I think it would take more time, but we did pick a date and go ahead and sign the pledge like the kids said. I don't know if we'll be ready by then. It's only a few weeks away now, but we went ahead and tried it.
Okay, well, it's really good to hear that you're using the kit and looked ahead to try to tackle some of the next steps. And I understand it can be difficult to change a habit like smoking inside your home, but it's important not to give up on the idea altogether. Just think back to all the reasons you have for wanting to have a smoke-free home. For example, making it healthier and nicer for your guests.
You're right. This is something I really want to do, and I think I can do it. It's just a matter of knowing how to do it.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of the things you can do to prepare to make your home smoke-free. What do you think you can do to get your home ready?
Well, maybe I can go ahead and get rid of the ashtray so they can't smoke inside.
Well, that's a good idea, but you might want to talk with everyone before just removing ashtrays from indoors.
Yeah, I guess I better. You're probably right. They wouldn't like me much if I did it without telling them first.
Yeah, but something you can do is take the initiative and set up a comfortable outdoor area, smoking area, so then they'll feel appreciated and may start smoking outside more and even may motivate them to go outside on their own.
I like that, a nice little outdoor area. We have some plants out there, and maybe I could just put an extra chair or something. They could sit around and smoke out there. That is a nice idea.
Well, great. I'm glad to hear you're open to this. So we've discussed a few things you can try to do over the next couple of weeks. During our next call, we'll discuss how everything worked out and what you can do to go ahead and make your home smoke-free.
Okay, great. So we have a chat discussion question. So what additional recommendations would you have made to keep this family, the one in the example, on track? And we'll give you, again, just a couple of seconds to respond to that, and we'll look for your responses in the chat. Okay, so we're getting some answers. So encouragement, that's definitely important. I think you heard Sade was doing that character of the case manager, just saying, okay, well, you know, I think you're doing a great job here. Keep it up. Good job signing the pledge. So I think those are things that you absolutely want to do. I like the idea of giving them statistics of how many people have been successful to kind of build their confidence that they can do it too, their self-efficacy, that, you know, this is something other people do, I can do it. Reinforcing good behavior, that's important. I wonder what they could have done in that conversation to kind of do that, but maybe rewarding herself, and we'll talk more about that, kind of giving her ownership over it by saying, okay, it's great that you signed the pledge, why don't you take yourself out for an ice cream or something like that. And then to take other hobbies up to keep them busy, and that's a really popular one for a lot of smokers, just to kind of keep them distracted. Continued support, doing something that feels good, again, that's good, like a sport or a hobby. I had someone tell me she took up beading, like necklace making, when she was trying to stop smoking indoors just because it gave her something to do with her hands while she was indoors. So she was making necklaces for everyone for Christmas, which is nice. So yeah, these are really great ideas and recommendations that I think would have been absolutely appropriate in that situation, and things that obviously you could work with the individual family on, coming up with their own things. So great job, thanks.
All right, so step 4 is where the family actually makes their home smoke-free. And by the time they get to this step, they are officially ready, and this is where most of the changes will occur. All right, so when starting step 4, families will be in one of two places. They will have either been relatively problem-free and successfully made their home smoke-free, or they may have experienced some challenges along the way. So you want to encourage parents to continue using the tips and solutions provided in previous steps, and like the ones you've mentioned, in addition to new ones specifically for going smoke-free if they're having difficulty. So you can suggest things like telling visitors that they no longer allow smoking in their home, suggest putting up the smoke-free home sign and their signed pledge. And just having these visible reminders will definitely motivate them to go outside. You can also suggest removing the ashtrays and putting away lighters and matches. Again, as you saw in the vignette, you want to discuss that tip with everyone in the household before just removing ashtrays. And you want to just establish a place where they can go outside to smoke. And a really important one is putting out a bowl of sugar-free gum or candy. This is simple, and just having those healthy snacks and just sugar-free gum available to curb those cravings, that's really helpful. So that's something else you can provide. And there are additional tips listed in the kit. So once the family has been successful in making their home smoke-free, you should definitely encourage them to celebrate their success. And celebrations, they don't have to be elaborate. They can be as simple as just playing a game or watching a favorite show together, planning a special celebration dinner at a smoke-free restaurant, or since their home at this point is smoke-free, they can just have a special dinner at home. Or they can just spend time on a hobby or special project together. And you may even just want to just brainstorm some different ideas with them. Celebrating really reinforces the efforts and helps them maintain a smoke-free home. So it's important the foster parent and other household members, they feel that they're making progress and that their efforts are being recognized. So this is a huge part of the program. So again, by the end of step 4, you want to start setting some goals. And the household should have picked a date, signed the pledge, and posted it, and also inform visitors of their new smoke-free home rule. And you want to also help them find ways to politely remind and encourage the smoker in the home to go outside and smoke. And these goals, combined with previous goals, will help them stay on track and actually make their home smoke-free. And finally, step 5 involves keeping the home smoke-free and maintaining the changes recently made. So by the time the family gets to this point, they should have picked the date, signed the pledge, and made their home smoke-free. And again, this is a huge, huge accomplishment that you definitely want to reinforce. So in this step, you want to check in with the family, see how the new rule is working for them, and discuss any challenges they may be experiencing in maintaining a smoke-free home, if they're experiencing any at all. So you can also address anticipated challenges here, and you want to offer solutions to tackling these challenges, and just remind them that they can review the Common Challenges and Solutions booklet found in the kit. And again, it highlights some of the top 10 challenges that people have in making this change. And as a part of this discussion, you want to have them think about setting future goals. And future goals can include calling the quit line for smoking cessation services if they're interested in quitting, or continuing to set an example for other smokers by going outside to smoke. And once the family has officially made their home smoke-free, and if your time permits, you want to continue to be a resource to help address any unexpected challenges in the future. Okay, and as final tips, you want to encourage parents to follow up with the family talks and continue supporting one another and the smokers in the home, and just to basically celebrate their success and celebrate often. In order for the family to remain successful, it's important that everyone is still on board and that the smokers, they know they have the support needed from everyone in the household. So basically reminding each other of the reasons for wanting to go smoke-free is definitely important. And by the end of step 5, the family should be setting future goals. And future goals would include brainstorming fun ways to celebrate their success, like planning a special dinner, playing games, or just enjoying a fun outing together. And they also need to keep up with the previously met goals. So by the time they get to this point, they should have received several tips and ideas to having a smoke-free home along the way that they can continue to use in making this change. And this brings us to another chat discussion. What additional goals would you encourage a family to make at the end of the program? Can you guys think of any additional goals that we have yet to address? Okay, here's one. Start a savings account for the money saved from not smoking. That's a really good one. A lot of people do mention that by cutting back on smoking, making their home smoke-free, they do cut down on the amount they smoke. So they do save a lot of money. So that's a really good one. Any other ones? Well, in the kit, you will get additional goals that can be set. Well, let's see. You would encourage the family to begin exercising or light walking. That's a good one. Channeling those cravings, like doing alternative behaviors like exercising and light walking, that's a really good one. Okay, and again, in the kit you will find some additional goals that you can help encourage the family to set. And here are a list of most commonly set goals in the group that we worked with. So going outside to smoke and just making the home smoke-free, and try replacing smoking with another behavior, like you guys mentioned, exercising or light walking, and smoking less and buying fewer cigarettes. And they will definitely save a lot of money in doing that. Okay, so now we're going to go into vignette number 3, and this basically covers step 1 through 5 entirely. And things you should look out for in this first half, assessing the need, the importance of having a smoke-free home, reasons to have a smoke-free home for the family, how to address the family talk, challenges, and solutions.
So I've noticed you have a lot of ashtrays around. Do you mind me asking, is there a smoker in the home?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm a smoker, and my sister who lives with us is a smoker too. Why do you ask?
Well, while it's not a formal rule yet, we really prefer to see DFACS homes smoke-free because of the harmful effects of secondhand and third-hand smoke on children's development. The breathing environment plays a huge role in how often a child is sick, and in homes that allow smoking, kids more often have ear infections, allergies, and asthma-related conditions because of the secondhand smoke that stays in the air.
Well, we don't smoke inside that often. Can it still cause all those problems?
Unfortunately, yes. Once you're smoking, the smoke chemicals still linger and can stay in the carpets, walls, and furniture. This is known as third-hand smoke. It really is best for everyone in the home if people stop smoking indoors.
Okay. I've never heard of that. What did you call it? Third-hand smoke?
Yes, third-hand smoke is the harmful elements of cigarette smoke that stay on surfaces of objects after the visible smoke or secondhand smoke is gone. It may remain on these surfaces for days, weeks, and even months.
Wow. Okay.
So if you're interested, here's a list of some common reasons for deciding to make a home smoke-free. Some people decide to have a smoke-free home to set a good example and keep children and teenagers from starting to smoke. Others do it because they're concerned about the health effects for children and adults in the home. And still, there are plenty of other reasons for it. Can you think of reasons that you might want to make your home smoke-free?
I'm not sure. I hadn't really thought about it ever until you just brought it up right now. I mean, as a smoker, I just never really had thought about it, how it affects the kids I take in, you know?
Well, thinking about it now and looking at this list I have, does it seem like there might be reasons you'd want to have a smoke-free home?
Oh, my. Well, sure. I mean, I don't want the kids in the home to smoke. It's a terrible habit. And the little one, Mikey, has some breathing problems, and I'm constantly taking him to the emergency room to get help for that. So, yeah, I think this might be a good thing for us.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about his emergency room visits, but I'm glad that it sounds like you have some reasons that might be motivating for you. Is there any other reason you can think of?
Well, I guess because he's already missed so many days of school with the transition and everything that I don't want him to miss anymore.
Okay, I can understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the smell of it. It's disgusting. I'm ready to have a home that smells like a real home, you know?
Absolutely. These are all great reasons to want to have a smoke-free home. Now let's talk more about how you can get started on making your home smoke-free. Okay. Now that you've decided you might want to try and make the home smoke-free for the reasons that you mentioned, it's important to get everyone in the house on board too, especially the smoker.
Yeah, you're right. I just think I should just completely quit.
Well, I think it's wonderful that you want to quit, but keep in mind that having a smoke-free home rule doesn't mean that either you or your sister have to quit smoking. It just means that both of you agree that you won't smoke inside the house anymore. You can still go outside to smoke, and having this rule can actually help you cut down on how much you smoke overall.
Okay. Well, I think I might be able to try that. But how would I go about bringing it up with my sister? I mean, she's down on her luck. That's why she's, living with us. I would just feel awful setting all the rules and making her follow them. I want her to feel like this is her home too, you know?
Yeah, of course. I can understand that. Well, let's see. How do you feel like you could bring the topic up?
Well, I guess I could, let her know when she comes home later. I could just tell her the case manager came by today and shared some interesting information about secondhand smoke and thirdhand smoke. Maybe I could show her that list and tell her that it really got me thinking about how we should make our home smoke-free, especially with how it might be affecting Mikey's health.
Okay, well, that sounds like a great way to start. Telling her when she gets home is a good idea. What could you tell her to convince her that making her home smoke-free is important?
Well, she already knows about Mikey and the emergency room visits. She's been here for that. Maybe just letting her know that this could help his health and everyone else's. Maybe if I could just convince her how this is something that would be helpful, she would get on board.
Well, that sounds good. You should share your reasons for making the home smoke-free and let her know where you stand on the issue. Be sure to be open to discussion and hearing her side, too. How else do you think you can support each other in making the home smoke-free?
Well, I already know her side. She's not going to want to do it. That's what I've been saying. She's definitely not going to want to do it.
Well, you should still go ahead and share it with her anyway. You might be surprised at her reaction. She's probably more open to change than you might expect. It can be difficult to change a habit like smoking inside your home, but it's important not to give up on the idea altogether. Just give her all the reasons you have for wanting to have a smoke-free home. For example, your household members' health and keeping the home smelling fresh and clean.
Okay, I can do that.
Great, so let me take a look at my calendar. It looks like we're scheduled to talk in 2 weeks. Do you think you'd be able to do that by 2 weeks from now?
Yes, absolutely, I can do that.
Great.
Okay, so now we're going to flash forward 2 weeks to the follow-up meeting, and here we'll cover setting the date, prompts to making the home smoke-free, goals, and actually making the home smoke-free.
Okay. So hi, Sue. How have things been going?
They've been great. You were right. My sister Janice took it much better than I thought, and we decided to go ahead and try to make our home smoke-free. We just haven't really started because we didn't know where to start.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. Okay, well, you've taken the first couple of steps, making the decision and getting everyone on board. So now let's talk about what you can actually do to make the home smoke-free. This next step includes deciding when you want your home to go smoke-free and picking a date. The kit includes a pledge that some people find helpful to get the household on board with this decision. So thinking with me now, what might be a good time to make your home smoke-free?
Well, how about when Mikey starts school again? New routine for him and a new routine for us. That'll be in about, well, only 3 weeks now. He starts 4th grade in the beginning of August.
That's a nice idea. I like that. New routines for everyone. So what date would that be?
August 5th. Yep, that's right, August 5th.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, let's talk about some things you can do to get ready to make your home smoke-free. What can you do to get your home ready?
Well, I can start going outside more and maybe try to clean the house so it doesn't smell so much anymore.
Well, that sounds like a great start, so starting to smoke outside more and doing a thorough cleaning of the house. Maybe you could also go ahead and get rid of the ashtrays or put out gum, candy, or other healthy snacks to help curb the urge to smoke.
Oh, wow, those sound really great.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you think they might work for you. You can also try writing down that date, August 5th, on the pledge we provided you, and posting it in the home where everyone can see it. It can help you keep on track with your goal. Also, it might be a nice idea to try and go smoke-free for a week and see if you might be able to do it sooner than August.
Oh, yeah. That's good. Putting the pledge on the refrigerator with all our other notices might help us remember and then using some of those strategies. They really sound great to see if we can do it sooner. Or I'm getting really excited about the idea of not smelling and that smoke anymore and us all feeling better and breathing fresher air. I think this is going to be a really great thing for us.
Great. Well, I'm glad that you think these tips might work for you and that you're getting excited to be smoke-free. At the end of August, we have a visit scheduled, so I'll check in with you then on how you're doing. In the meantime, feel free to reach me by email or phone if you have any questions or concerns, and good luck.
Thank you. I most certainly will. I feel like you've given me some things that I can really use today, like putting the ashtrays out and putting out some candy or gum. That might really help us with beating cravings and starting to smoke outside more.
Good, good. Well, if you don't have any other questions, I'll check in with you in a few weeks.
Okay, so we'll have a quick chat discussion. In the last vignette, you heard about a resistant family member. What would you recommend to a parent dealing with a resistant family member? Okay, so show the negative impact of not changing. Okay. So basically, with that, you can give some of the statistics about smoking in the home and how it can cause different health problems, health issues for children, non-smokers, smokers, and everyone involved. That's a good one. Any other ones? Explain the risk of smoking in the home. Also explain that smoking hurts everyone. Exactly. That's a good way to address it. And just basically stressing the need to make the change. And speak honestly to the family and talk to them and allow them to be part of the process. That's a really big one, for them to feel like they're part of the change and that they can actually help in the process. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and finish up Vignette 3. And in this part, we should be looking for ideas for celebrating, addressing future challenges, future solutions, and finally setting goals.
It's so good to see you again.
Thanks, you too. Come on in. Did you notice anything?
It smells great in here. Don't tell me, have you?
Yep, we've gone smoke-free, only 1 week now, so we're trying to work on the changes, but it's good so far. I already noticed that Mikey is using his inhaler less and able to do more without having trouble.
Well, that's great. Let's take a seat and talk about how you've done this. I'm really impressed with how far you've come, and I want to know how it's worked for you. People use a lot of different strategies to make this easier. What have you done to make it easier to have a smoke-free home?
Well, we just went about making some of those changes and reminding ourselves the whole time that we were really doing it for our health, the freshness of the home, and the whole family, which includes the foster kid, Mikey and his older brother, who we have now too, Wesley.
Well, that's really great. So it sounds like thinking about those reasons you gave me in the beginning has really helped motivate you along the way.
Yes, absolutely. Seeing them being healthier and stuff, also setting a good example for the boys. That's really important to us.
Well, that's great to hear. How have you celebrated your success?
Celebrate? Oh, doing it is a celebration enough. We are so happy about that.
Well, that's good to hear, but it's also important to reward yourself. You know, pat yourself on the back for a good job. Would you like to hear what others have done to celebrate?
Sure.
Some people plan a special celebration dinner at home or at a smoke-free home restaurant with their families. Others set aside time to do a fun outing, like going to a movie or something.
Oh, that sounds like a nice idea. Maybe I'll bring it up at dinner tonight and see what the others might be interested in doing. Maybe a family celebration night. I think that's a great idea.
It's important to celebrate these changes. You've come a long way.
Thank you. It's been hard, but we're trying.
Yes, you are, and that's absolutely wonderful. I'm really impressed. Well, believe it or not, we've reached the last step of the program. The last step involves keeping your home smoke-free. Have you had any difficulty in keeping your home smoke-free?
Keeping it smoke-free? Well, so far, no. Like I said, it's only been a little over a week, though.
Okay, well, can you think of any challenges or barriers that might get in the way of keeping your home smoke-free in the future?
Not really. Well, I guess if my aunt comes over, since she smokes too, she might have a problem with it.
Okay, and how might you overcome that?
I would just have to tell her, that now we are a smoke-free home and she needs to go outside to our smoking area if she wants to have a cigarette.
Okay, so that sounds good. Just be firm with the no smoking rule in the home, no matter who's over at the house.
Exactly, because it's my home and these kids' health are at risk. So maybe I can tell her that too.
That's good. So sharing the reasons that you have for having a smoke-free home and telling her about it to show her how important it is to you.
Yes, that's probably what I do.
Okay, well, that sounds great. Finally, I'd like for us to talk about some additional goals you can set for yourself moving forward. Thinking about the next couple of weeks, what goals can you set for yourself to help continue to keep your home smoke-free?
Well, I don't know exactly. Just keep doing it. Keep going outside. Maybe try smoking less or buying fewer cigarettes. Just cut down altogether.
That's a nice idea, so trying to smoke less overall.
Yeah, smoke less overall. Also, I think it's important we keep supporting each other. It can be so hard. It's so addictive. I think since Janice and I are doing it together, we have our own little support team, so we can help each other out.
Absolutely. Well, that sounds great. You and your sister just supporting each other, and you may even serve an example for her by going outside to smoke yourself. That can be really helpful.
Yeah, it sure can.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add? Any questions you had for me?
No, not really. I just want to thank you for saying something the first time you came here and getting me on this program. It really has been a great thing, and I hope you keep doing it with others because it really and truly has changed our lives and helped us and the kids in a meaningful way.
Well, that's so good to hear. Thank you. I'm glad it's been a help to you, and I look forward to seeing you again in another month or so.
Well, thank you all. I want to thank our Emory team for serving on the role play and also sharing the 5-step guides. And we just hope that this information would be helpful to you as you learn about the data on secondhand and third-hand smoke and the 5-step guide to helping families go smoke-free. So we wanted to take a few moments to see if you have additional questions. So you're welcome to pose some questions in the chat discussion section, and we'll just spend a few moments going over those if you have any.
We'll go ahead. We're going to go ahead and forward. Please go ahead and feel free to put any other questions in chat. And Amy, you want to go ahead and close out some of the other. We do have some resources. You might want to mention some of those, Com.
Sure. I'll go over these while you guys may be typing or thinking about questions. So these are some resources. First of all, if families are interested or the smoker is interested, there are ways that they can get resources to help them quit or smoking cessation. So there is a 1-800-QUIT line that actually has counselors that will talk to you, and they can also send you resources. That is for free. United Way, in a lot of communities, you can call 211 and get resources to learn how to find smoking cessation. Of course, we also encourage people to talk to their medical provider, and they might give you tips and or help you with nicotine replacement therapy to kind of help you reduce smoking. If people want to learn more information, you'll see that there are 2 websites here from the Centers for Disease Control. They have one about tobacco, and then smokefree.gov. A lot of government agencies have a lot of great resources to help you learn about secondhand smoke. In addition to the evaluation for the Georgia State Policy Center, we also have a quick short survey on the Emory side that we'll invite you to participate in the next day or so. So you'll get an email from us, and you can take the online survey, and we would be very appreciative of your thoughts about the webinar. And it will help us also do a webinar for foster caregivers and parents. This is my contact information, as well as Debbie Yimbro, who is our main staff on Smoke-Free Homes. And you can contact us if you have additional questions. We also want to thank Diane Yerby and Deborah Burris, who have been working with us from DFACS on this project, and Dorothy Mabry from the Agency for Children and Families, and the rest of our Emory team, who's not represented here but have worked on this project as well. So let me see what kind of questions we have here.
I'm smoking in the car.
Yes, so the question is, the whole idea of what we presented today was smoke-free house or smoke-free home. What about smoking in the car? Yes, we would also see that as a concern, as you mentioned, and we do encourage families, and actually some states have rules for foster caregivers not to allow smoking in the home and the car. So if you are talking to your families and you notice or they mention that they smoke it in the car, that we would also encourage them. And the car actually potentially is more dangerous because it's enclosed space and there's less ventilation and less room for the smoke to kind of go away, so people cannot avoid it, so to speak. So I'm going to turn it over to Amy and Laura to close out. If you have additional questions, feel free to put them into our survey, and we'll be happy to answer them. But thank you again for this opportunity.
Okay. Thank you, Com. All right, you can see on the screen that there are follow-up items coming to you, the PowerPoint slides, the recording of the webinar, and also when you exit out of this webinar today, a evaluation link will pop up, and if you could just take a minute or 2 to complete that survey. And again, Emory will be emailing you some additional information. If you also have group participants and have not done so, please type the group members who did not get to sign in today's webinar into the chat line with their email address so that we can make sure they receive the materials and receive credit as well. And you will receive a training certificate for your participation today, and you should receive that within a day or 2. Again, we want to thank you for participating today, and this information is geared towards foster parents, but you can use it with anybody that you're working with when you're making home visits, and can share this information to help promote smoke-free homes. Thank you again for your participation, and thank you to our Emory panelists. We appreciate all the information you provided us today, and we have enjoyed working with you on this webinar. And we will now close this webinar today.